This episode of the Paddy Wagon is brought to you by Dan's Propane. Experience the difference that a reliable and trustworthy company can provide. Call Dan today at 308-530-0211 or visit danspropane.com to schedule your propane delivery. Hey everybody, pull up a seat. I have just topped off my glass. Why don't you grab your favorite beverage and join me? This is the Paddy Wagon. Good day, everybody, and welcome back to the Paddy Wagon. I have decided to do my first solo episode, we'll call it. I don't know what the hell else we'd call it, but with the holidays and my wife's injury to her arm, I've kind of fallen behind a little bit with scheduling, and I had some free time, so I wanted to get an episode out. And so Happy New Year to everybody, and thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's been a good year so far. We're a few days in, so I can't complain too much. But yeah, like I said, I think everyone kind of, I don't know if it's like a post-holiday funk where, just kind of getting things together and trying to keep things moving. I had 3 weeks off of work. A lot of that time was spent with family, which was wonderful. Trying to help my wife recover, take care of the babies, take care of the older kids. Just really be there for everybody and have some fun and enjoy the time off. But, it's also a lot of work. So, unfortunately, things like podcasting and finding time to be able to, create questionnaires to get with people, to get them on the show. Again, those things take a little bit of a delay when what you do isn't a full-time job. So, but yeah, here we are. So yeah, I mean, listen, I guess first off, we get started, as many know that I'm from Pittsburgh. So the Steelers, I don't know if we have any Steeler fans out there. I'm sure we do. But what's awesome, I don't know if anyone knows this, but the Steelers have yet again finished with a winning record. Mike Tomlin has yet to have a losing season in his career. And those in Pittsburgh know that well because they remind you every fucking Steeler game that man has never had a losing season. Well, he did it again, folks. The mediocrity that is the Pittsburgh Steelers and that organization is more average than most. There are teams winning Super Bowls, and there are teams losing, and there are teams that win 15 games a year, and there are teams that win 2. But the one thing I know is that the Steelers will always win 9. They will have a first-round exit in the playoffs, and they will be as average and as mediocre in every aspect of the game that is possible, and they do it better, or should I say as average as anyone. So hats off to the Steelers. They were able to beat the Ravens, and they will be advancing into the playoffs. They won the AFC North. Actually, I wouldn't say they won. I'd say they didn't lose the AFC North. So for those that watched the game, it was the Sunday night game last week. And the upcoming game will be their last because they are going to get fucking waxed when they play a good defense, such as the Texans. But we'll get to that when we get to that. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I wouldn't say the Steelers won. Like I said, I would say they didn't lose because major blown coverages, mixed extra point. I think we only scored the 1 touchdown late in the game because somebody slipped on the shitty field that is Heinz Field, or Acrisure Stadium, they call it now. So, well known for having poor turf. Yeah, like I said, we certainly didn't win that game. And when you have, an old geezer QB like you do in Aaron Rodgers, who personally I think it's maybe time to hang it up. I mean, the dude still plays well enough, but I think that if the best team that can be put around him is what the Steelers are doing for him this year, it might be time to hang it up. I mean, they went out and got $150 million invested into DK Metcalf, who quite honestly is just another receiver who cannot keep his head in the fucking game. He's out punching fans. he's basically just a bigger, stronger George Pickens. So, we're stuck with him for a few years. Dude can ball, but, when you get suspended for the last 2 games of the year, that hurts your teammates. So, yeah, but hey, listen, speaking of fighting and with the Steelers and players and all of that, punching people in the face in the stands, the fans, they're also involved in that. I mean, there's tons of footage online of people fucking fighting at the Steeler game, acting like assholes. I think I saw one video which had a Ravens fan throwing a drink or a beer in some guy's face while he's sitting with his son. The little kid's crying. I mean, it's sporting events, I think, have become probably the least family-friendly environments that you can go to. I question whether I'd ever want to take my kid to a game, but, truthfully, my oldest son, he does want to go to one, so we probably will. But, you'd think, hey, how do you keep people out? How do you keep the trouble out? Can you raise prices? Yeah, I mean, they do that, right? We went to a game earlier this year. I think it was probably between $250 and $300 per ticket. That shit doesn't keep assholes out, man. People apparently have disposable income, and those people can be as big as assholes as somebody without money. So, get a few Iron City beers in them and, watch what happens. But Pittsburgh never disappoints, man. Whether it's the opposing fans coming in or the Pittsburgh fans. I think we do have a lot of very knowledgeable and loyal football fans, but, there's certainly no shortage of assholes at these events either. So, approach with caution. I took my wife, actually, she bought the tickets, I should say, but she wanted to go to a Bengals game earlier this year. Her family's from Cincinnati, so she is in fact a Bengals fan. Boo. Don't really give a shit about that, but it is what it is. And, one of the things we talked about, I just had this weird idea. I said, people can be assholes, because it was her first Steeler game. But then I thought, well, she's a woman. Nobody's going to fuck with her. Nobody's going to say anything. And, then I thought that's just absurd. I mean, that has nothing to do with anyone's ability to stop running their mouth or talking shit. They will talk shit on kids, women, old people, doesn't matter. At any stadium in the country, in any sport, it's just the way it is. But yeah, we went to get drinks at one point during the game, and then walking to the concession stand, she was a few feet ahead of me and walked past a couple guys in Steeler jerseys, and she threw out her "Who Dey" after they booed her or something like that, and this guy just yells, "Fuck you" at the top of his lungs. And, what he didn't know was her husband, me, was about 5 feet behind her. So, he was, I guess he was probably my age, kind of a dorky guy with his friend. His friend was a dipshit too. And I just approached him and I said, "Hey," I said, "that's not very nice." And I walked away. And I felt good about myself. I said, that's the way you deal with assholes. Don't start fights with them. Just, hey, that's a lady right there. That's not very nice. That's not polite. Your mother raised you better. Be kind. Something like that, because that's what my wife would do. But then as I was getting my beer, and she's looking at me, and I'm fucking, it's like festering. I'm not meant to just apologize or, say my thing to people and let it go. But I was doing okay. But it was annoying me a little bit that they said that to her. I'm pretty protective over my wife, and not in a weird way, but you want to make sure you're there for the people you care about. But as we're grabbing our drinks and we're finishing paying, we're walking back that direction, and I wasn't going to say anything. And I noticed these two assholes are giving shit to a Bengals fan again. And you know what? I just keep the details here. We don't have to get too into it, but I basically approached the guys and said, basically, consider yourself lucky that I'm the guy I am, because if I see you again, or if I was an asshole, those guys would have been hurt. I'm not a tough guy by any stretch, but just having to sit there and tolerate that bullshit when you're going to a game and you're just trying to enjoy yourself and have fun. I mean, we tailgated before. we were interacting with other Steeler fans. I'm a Steeler fan, so I had my jersey. She had her Bengals jersey on. Some good lighthearted razzing, and me and the guy next to her high-fiving over her head while her Bengals got absolutely fucking walloped. That's what it's supposed to be. I think fun shit talking, but listen, what are you going to do? It's the NFL, it's sports, it's playoff time. There's going to be more of it. But yeah, a couple drunken assholes can certainly ruin a good time. But speaking of, I guess, drunken assholes, I should say, and not starting fights, but my father and I, we certainly fall into the category of drunken assholes. And well, Michael, how would one be a drunken asshole if they're not starting a fight? You might be asking yourself. Well, here's how you can be an asshole when you're not starting a fight. Me and my dad went to a game a few years back, and we got pretty shithoused. Had some drinks, drank in the parking lot, had some more drinks inside, and after a few beers, you gotta piss. So, we walk to the men's room, try to find a good time to go. Newsflash, there's never a good time to go. So we walk into the bathroom and there's a line. Now, speaking for Acrisure Stadium, and like most stadiums, I think, is when you walk in, if you're lucky, you've got a row of urinals or a row of toilets on both sides, not just one wall. And sometimes there's individual urinals. Sometimes it's like a big trough you just piss in that stretches from one end of the building to the other. There's constant flow of water running and whatnot. And we got in line, and it was actually moving pretty good. But I mean, we had to fucking go. And so we get up to go, and he goes up, he starts peeing. I walk up, I start peeing. And I don't know what it was, but there was something off. It was it's like a pretty high toilet. It's kind of hard to explain. The women will certainly not get it if you've never been in a men's room. And men, I don't know what to tell you, but we're both pissing, and it's just odd. I can tell something's off, but I can't figure out what it is. And I'm peeing, and I'm just going to myself, fuck, is this urinal's really tall? Like, why am I on my fucking tippy toes? As I'm pissing, I realize that I'm looking in the mirror, and I can see my dad's dick. And I'm like, who the fuck puts a mirror in front of a fucking urinal? And that's when it hit me that me and my dad were pissing in the sink. There was a line of assholes that were pissing in the sink, so we just got in line with those assholes and continued the trend of being assholes and pissed in the sink. And like I said, you just look down, you're looking ahead, you're peeing, and you're like, it just realized, like, wow, it's weird. There's a mirror. That's also weird. That's my dad's dick. So yeah, make sure you don't piss in the sink, kids. It's fucking, I don't know what to tell you. It happens. What are you going to do? But yeah, no, New Year's is going good so far. Again, if you tuned in for the last episode, my wife fell in the driveway and she broke her arm pretty good. Actually snapped the bone in half. And so with a new baby in the house, it's been pretty tough on her to do most things that would require two arms, picking up a baby. Just moving her arm, everything's been pretty painful. And I do like to cook, love to help out all the time. I will never say I do as much as she does because I don't, but I do love to cook. And that's one area where we're pretty good. But, like everyone, I think you get some times where you don't want to cook. And so you just kind of go, like, fuck it. You want to DoorDash it tonight? So we DoorDash it. And, I don't know how many times people fuck up orders or they show up cold, 25 minutes late, whatever the case is. But, we were lucky enough. We got food ordered on time, and I see the guy pulling up, and I go out to get him or meet with him and grab the food because we have two dogs. I don't know if the baby was napping or whatever the case was, but little Asian guy comes up to the door. I don't know why I have to mention he's Asian. I just think it makes the story sound better for some fucking reason. But I go to meet up with him, and he hands me the food, and I say thank you, and he's well, hold on, I need to take a picture. And I'm like, you're good, man. You got it here. He's like, no, I need to take a picture of the food at the house so that, I can prove that I delivered it. And again, I'm thinking to myself, well, the proof is in my hands, my friend. You literally handed me the fucking bags. Like, who's looking at these pictures? And he's like, I just need to take the picture. So he goes to take the picture. Now, stereotypes. I was of the opinion that most Asians sometimes could be pretty good with technology and phones and good at math and all that stuff. But as it turns out, this man was not good with electronics, and I had to stand on my fucking porch holding 2 bags of DoorDash food for probably 3 to 3.5 minutes while this fucking cocksucker tried to figure out how to work his phone to take the pictures. When you're delivering DoorDash and you say that you need to take pictures, you should probably already know how to take those pictures. But as my luck would have it, he didn't. So I had to awkwardly stand on my own fucking front porch while the guy from fucking Goonies took pictures of me, or attempted to take pictures of me, again, for close to 3.5 minutes. And not only holding the bags, but him like trying to get me to pose. And hey, can you turn the bags this way so I can see it? I'm literally standing there. Is this fucking guy serious right now? I gotta stand here. I gotta turn bags. I gotta do this. He finally takes a picture. He's like, hey, the lighting is bad. Can you move and fucking do it again? I'm like, dude, this is really bizarre. Like, could just take the fucking picture, please. So I can only assume that there's 70 pictures of me in this guy's phone with all different sorts of poses, holding fucking a bag of food that I wanted to eat at that time. But no, I'm doing some sort of fucking weird photo and then fucking fashion shoot with a fucking burger bag. Well, this dipshit tries to figure out his fucking shit. And I don't fucking know. Just drop the fucking food off and leave. And it's just one of those things where you try to go out and make things easier. Just, hey man, how are you? Thanks for dropping the food off. Let me take that from you so you don't have to set it here. And it turns into some big fucking ordeal. But no, we got the food. We ate it. Everything was good. Actually, food related question, off topic, sort of. Mogwais, what is there anyone out there that can possibly fucking explain the you can't feed fucking mogwais after midnight thing? Like, you think about it, you get it, right? Hey, if you feed this thing after midnight, it's gonna turn into a gremlin. It's gonna fucking ruin Billy's Christmas. Possibly take over the town. Okay, so we all know that you definitely don't want to feed a mogwai after midnight. When does the clock reset? That's kind of my thing in watching the movie. When does 5 a.m., 6 a.m.? Like, when is it in fact okay to feed a mogwai? Again, do you have to wait till the sun comes up? They never make mention of this. Old man Peltzer steals the mogwai off the Asian guy, and the little kid basically sells it to him, against his grandfather's wishes. And he says, hey, listen, white man, don't fucking feed it after midnight. I know you people have your own set of rules you go by, but this is a pretty big one here. So, listen, don't feed it after midnight. Don't get it wet, blah, 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 blah. So of course, it fucking breaks all the rules, but when can you feed a mogwai, I think is the important question. And they never address that. And I think there's probably 2 or 3 Gremlins movies, and it's never touched upon. And then you start thinking of time zones. Like, if I'm in Pittsburgh and I feed a mogwai at 1 a.m., it's going to get fucking real nasty by the next morning when those little cocoons form. What the fuck? what about Central Time Zone, Pacific? Like, what the fuck? Like, these Mogwais are just, I don't get it. I think some thought should have gone into that part of the Mogwai creation. Yeah, fuck it, whatever. You know what? Back to food. I knew I was doing a solo episode, and I knew I wanted to kind of tell that story about the fucking the food and the DoorDash and all that. It got me thinking. I had kind of taken some notes before, so I know every 4th of July there is the Nathan's hot dog eating contest where Kobayashi and Joey Chestnut for years would go back and forth, and what is the world record now? Like 76 fucking hot dogs and buns in like 10 minutes, which is insane. But for those that don't know, there's actually a website called majorleagueeating.com, and you can see all of the world records for eating different types of food in a certain amount of time. And so I thought it would be fun to kind of share some of those with you today if you're unaware that is a thing. So, I mentioned Kobayashi, who was the original king of eating dick-shaped food, but he was overtaken by Joey Chestnut, who is now the world record holder. But Kobayashi, while being known for hot dogs, should also be known for a little something else. And that little something else is cow brains, because he did, in fact, eat 57 cow brains in 15 minutes. 57 cow brains. I don't know how big a fucking cow's brain is, but he ate 57 of them. I don't think I would eat one ever in any amount of time, let alone 57 in 15 minutes. So, that was an interesting one. Don Lerman, everyone knows Don Lerman. He ate 7 quarter-pound sticks of butter in 5 minutes. I don't know who the nasty fucker is that did this because the name wasn't listed, but 2.438 gallons of chili in 6 minutes. You can verify all these. You can look them up. But that one did not have a name. And I did choose some of these foods because we all eat them, I think, or most people eat them. Or if they don't, they are familiar with the consistency, or, sometimes you eat food and it's like heavier than, so you get the idea. But I'm a big donut fan, man. I love donuts. Loved glazed donuts too. How's 70 glazed donuts in 8 minutes fucking sound to you? That was accomplished by James Webb. It's the guy they named a telescope after? The fucking guy that ate 70 fucking glazed donuts in 8 minutes? Is that what you do? You get a telescope named after you. Yeah. That's how that works. The James Webb telescope was named after the guy who ate 70 glazed donuts in 8 minutes. 4 32-ounce bowls of mayonnaise in 8 minutes by Oleg Zhunitsky. 14.5 pounds of birthday cake by Matt Stoney. Should be Matt Stoner, but Matt Stoney. 14.5 pounds of birthday cake. And I do realize I forgot to take the notes on that one, but seriously, that's probably 5 minutes, 6 minutes. All of them seem to be between 5 and 10 minutes to set these world records. So think about that. The next time you eat a cake, think about eating almost 15 pounds of that cake. And, let me know how your asshole works out the next day. So anywho, I appreciate everyone joining. I just wanted to thank you guys again. It's going to be a shorter episode today, but, wanted to stay in touch with everyone. We do have some great episodes coming up. Got a lot of great guests coming up for the new year. Super excited to have some people join us here. I can't thank our guests enough, the people that come on and spend their time with us and entertain the listeners and entertain all you folks out there. So we really do appreciate it. And, always thankful for them and certainly thankful for the listeners. Last episode with Deanna, we had a good time. We had some user voicemails that we got to. And, I thought to kind of wrap this episode up here, it'd be a nice little fun time to maybe respond to some of the email questions that we get. So always a fan of people writing in, calling in. So please continue to send your emails, leave your voicemails. You know where to contact us. You go to paddywagonpodcast.com. You can click on the contact us section of the page or of the website, and you can send in your questions there. And then again, the link I will post in the episode description as to where you can leave voicemails as well. So, yeah, grabbed a couple of these, wanted to get them out there, and a couple interesting ones, I thought. So, this one here, what made you realize adulthood is mostly improv? I think having, I like that question. Improv, that's an understatement. Having kids, I would say, is probably the biggest wow moment that you realize that there's no way anyone has this shit figured out. Kids are the biggest fucking wild card in existence. No two are the same. Anyone that offers advice, for the most part, can shut the fuck up. I'm all for trying new things, right? But I think when somebody gives advice, there's got to be a disclaimer, right? Hey, you know what? This worked for me. This worked for little Billy or Tommy. And, hey, give it a try. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. But hey, again, worth a try. But I think people, they kind of approach you with, this is what works. And listen, it may, but it doesn't always. So, kids is definitely what made me realize adulthood is, just a bunch of assholes trying to figure things out. And if anyone figures it out or knows a way, just call me, let me know what to do. We'll go from there. We'll solve all the world's problems together. So, next one. I like this one as well. What are some things people pretend to like because it makes them sound interesting? Wow. I talk to a lot of people in my full-time job, and I talk to a lot of people in general. I talk to a lot of people here on the podcast. So I could give any number of answers to this one. I do think I don't want to call it a pet peeve, but one of the things that I find that people like to talk about where it just kind of, I don't want to say rubs me the wrong way because it's going to sound like a dick thing, but people like reading books. And don't get me wrong, like I know people like reading books. I like reading books. But when it comes to these fictions and fantasy, and for any fans of the show, I've talked about it before. I've just never found an interest in reading books that are fiction. It's just never been my thing. But I do think people that read certain types of books like to throw it in your face. Like it's a fucking accomplishment. Like, hey, I read a book. Well, yeah, me too. I used to read them in fucking third grade, in fourth grade, and I read them now. But yeah, I think that would be one of the main ones I would say that people just love to throw around and throw it in your face. And it's your Lord of the Rings. I read the Lord of the Rings. I read Harry Potter. I read any of the numbers. I don't know why I fucking have to use those books, for example, but they do. They let you know. But nobody ever throws out like an autobiography. There's not like a group of people like, have you read this latest autobiography by fucking so-and-so? Nobody does that, but it's always with the fictions. And I mean, listen, I've had guests on the show. I've had authors on the show who were kind enough to send me books, and I mean wonderful books, and books that I have read cover to cover. Colonel Damon Wells sent me You Don't Know Shit About Leadership, which I highly recommend for anyone who's a business owner, anyone who, no, not to try to sound good, but like leads the troops, right? If you're a business leader, there's just been some really great advice in that book that I read. Blue Line Rogue, which was sent by Officer John Masters. I mean, listen, you turn on the news anymore, police corruption. How are police officers acting? What are they, any number, read that book. That is a fantastic book. I'll list these books in the episode summary and where you can buy them at. But yeah, really good book. And it's really interesting to see somebody else's point of view, and that point of view being the officer himself and what these folks deal with. Because a lot of the times we'll see one side of the story, and you've got the whole, one bad apple, right, type thing. We had both those guys on the show. They were wonderful. Their books are excellent. And then, a new one, which I'm waiting on. I didn't get it yet, but it's certainly on my list, from our friend Lenore Vogt, who was on one of our last episodes. I think she was 2 episodes ago. Has new books, Small Town Chaos, Lessons on Country Life. And that's what I'm looking forward to. Not only because she's wonderful, but because she's got an interesting story that she's telling. And again, I'm not going to read those books and go throw it in somebody's face. Like, hey, you don't know shit about leadership. Do you ever fucking read that one, you fucking dick? But yeah, no, I do. I think people love to throw books in your face. But anyway, back to my original point. I'll tell you what else I think is people who ruin a movie with the phrase, the book was so much better, or have you read the books? It's like, you know what? Fuck you. I saved a week of my time and I went for the shittier version with moving pictures. Okay. So no, I didn't read the book. I have no plans on reading the book. I don't give a shit whether it was better. I'm trying to be efficient at this point in my life. And, listen, it's not going to happen. So anyway, next question. This, I think I understand what they're saying here. Why do people feel pressure to turn hobbies into side hustles? So, as you know, side hustles, a way to make money outside of your normal employment. Pressure. I don't know if it's pressure to, maybe it is. I don't know if it's pressure to turn something like a hobby into a side hustle, as much as it is our desire to try to make a buck where we can. Inflation's a bitch, man. People aren't making enough money. They're, the dollar's not going as far as it used to. And so it's not crazy to try to make some extra coin. I mean, I have a drone, and when I got the drone and learning how to fly it and looking at different things, because, when you're flying a drone, and I live pretty close to the airport, you are, you're dealing with the FAA, and, you go by a lot of the same rules that a pilot would go by. And so you've got to take that serious. So in looking up some of these certifications and things that they have, there's recreational and then there's business. And I'm like, what the fuck kind of business, man? I'd love to own it, have a business where I can make some money with a drone. So like roofing inspections and things like that. I'm sure there's a ton of other ones that are out there, but I think to myself, that'd be a cool way to make some extra bucks. But I think people need to be realistic, because, a lot of hobbies aren't really going to generate money, because a lot of people may have those hobbies. Podcasting, for example, love podcasting. It's a great hobby. Other than a few sponsors, things that I have, there's no, you're not generating a lot of income if you're someone with a podcast like the size of this one. Got a good following, good bunch of listeners, loyal fans that will call in. But, listen, I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not Theo Vaughn. I'm not any of the other folks that have, kind of a pre-existing following before they started their shows. So, I think some hobbies should remain hobbies. And, I think maybe the pressure isn't as much on the hobby. It's just people trying to be creative to try to find ways to make money. Again, the dollar's stretched pretty thin at this point. I don't know. I mean, listen, I'd love to hear some thoughts on if anyone has hobbies where they make some money. I'd love to hear kind of what some of those are. So, Yeah, next one. What surprised you most about hosting a podcast? I think making friends. I think when I first started, I was real happy to have people want to come on the show and want to talk with us. Myself and my previous co-host that was here. When you first get started, you don't know what you're getting into. And, I kind of had this feeling like, it's going to be weird talking to people, even though I talk to people all the time, or awkward. What type of questions am I going to ask? You get to kind of get your feel in the flow for what you want to do. But I genuinely, can say I love a lot of the people that have come on the show. I mean, really, really great people. Every single one of them. I've said this previously. I know recently, as a matter of fact, where there's never been a guest that's come on the show that I haven't enjoyed the hour to an hour and a half that they spent with me. Talking about their lives, talking about their products, talking about their passions, whatever it is that we've talked about. It's a lot of fun to get to know people. And I think that probably was the most surprising thing. That and the amount of fucking work. This thing does not magically produce itself. There is the audio equipment that you've got to learn how to use. There is, I don't just use a USB mic that plugs into the phone. I use what's called an XLR mic. It's a Rode Pod mic, which plugs into the Rodecaster Duo, which is basically a soundboard and mixing machine that helps this beautiful radio voice sound so wonderful. There's a lot of work that goes into getting things to sound right, editing, adding in commercials, adding the ads in, lining up the tracks and doing all that. So, all the aspects of getting the show produced and the wonderful amount of people that I've met have been probably the best part of doing the show. And then again, I think that will always be the most surprising thing is how much fun and how much love I have for all the people who've come on the show. So, let's see. Last one, actually. Yeah, I think it's the last one. Again, I would say, no, it's weirdly worded. I'm sorry for whoever wrote this. I just want to make sure because I kind of copied it verbatim. Do you believe it's a myth when people say something about having it all figured out? Like life. So I guess that's so. I'm assuming this is kind of what, like, life. Do you have life figured out? Or people that approach everything like, I got it figured out, like that arrogance about people. So I guess back to kind of the adulthood question. It was kind of the first one. Is I think so. Again, people with kids, they offer advice a lot of the times like they've got it figured out. Well, yeah, I mean, if something happens to you and you solve that problem, congratulations, you figured it out. Okay. So the next time that exact problem happens, you've got it figured out. I know that when I run my coffee pot, so on my hutch in our dining room, we've got a coffee pot, like just regular old school, like we make coffee. We've got a Keurig, and we've got a like a hot water electric kettle for tea. Okay. Any combination of the two of those at once will trip the breakers. Okay. So I've got it figured out that when I trip the breaker, I know how to fix it. I have a resolution to that problem. Okay. 5 minus 2 is 3. I've got it figured out. I've got it all figured out. How to beat Mario Brothers. How to beat Contra. How to beat these video games I played when I was a little kid that I would truthfully probably still be able to beat them because I've got it all figured out. So that said, I think when people act like they have life figured out, I guess it's that one that would get me. We have experiences that we learn from, and we can take those experiences, and if we're given the opportunity to help other people through our experiences, that's great. I mean, that's what life's about. I mean, if you have information, pass it on. If you can help somebody find a more efficient way of doing something, or be a friend, or be an ear for somebody, you know, you've got it all figured out. But yeah, figuring life out, it's just bullshit. Like, life doesn't give a fuck about you, and life has no intentions of you figuring it out. Okay. Does having it all figured out, does that work in your favor? You like walking in your wife, fucking railed by the neighbor. I don't know. Getting a phone call that somebody you love is sick or dead, losing your job, losing a home. I mean, does the guy that has it all figured out, does he somehow handle those situations differently than the others? I mean, I think the answer is probably not. So, you know, I don't know whether it's a myth or whatever. You know, I think there's a lot of people who walk around, they've never had the things that have challenged. You know, I know people, it's like the sun's always shining. They've never had a bad thing happen to them. Life is all, you know, puppy dogs and ice cream. And their day will come, like it comes for all of us. And when it does, like, instead of having it figured out, I guess the advice I would give or want to be given is, you know, figure out how to get up, right? Figure out how to keep moving. Figure out how to, I don't know, have the people who love you see you dust yourself off in the face of adversity. So yeah, I hope I answered that. Excuse me. I hope I answered that question the right way. I think that's what you're asking, but yeah, no, I don't think anyone has it figured out. I certainly don't. I don't think I ever will. It's constantly learning. It's constantly trying to be better. It's constantly failing. It's constantly looking in the mirror and it's wishing I would have done something different. You know, I've got just a beautiful little daughter who just loves to share stories with me and loves to play and loves to talk. And boy, does she love to talk. And I love listening to her, but damn, every once in a while, you're just like, hey, I was curious if you have an off button, because I would love to push that button right now and not hear you say another word. And when that happens, I feel like shit about it, because I don't ever want to feel about someone that I love, whether it be my kid, my wife, a friend, a coworker, whatever, is that when they're talking that I'm tuned out, but I am a human being. And so I'd love to figure that out. But it again, it's always a work in progress. Happy to hear any thoughts if somebody's got these things figured out, because I'm all fucking ears. So, but yeah, listen, hey, let's get this wrapped up. I actually thought of a funny little story to end this on. Random, completely fucking random. And I hope you enjoy. So, for those video gamers out there, we know I do play video games. Always a fan. Certainly have talked about them from time to time. Just not in a lot of detail, but have mentioned video games. And I was dating a girl who loved playing the fucking Sims. Pretty cool game. I don't, know who knows the Sims. Most of you probably do, but some of you won't. But she played this game called The Sims, and her game was fucking years old. Like hundreds, if not thousands of hours of gameplay into this game. So for those that don't know what The Sims are, it's little people, and you kind of control their actions. You can control when they go to bed, or control what they eat, and control the jobs that they get their homes, their lives. They have children, they get older, they die, they get married, they get divorced. It's truly like life. And, sometimes when you just let them go, they do their own thing, but you can grab an individual person. You're like, they got a little hunger bubble above them, or, just take them to the kitchen and they'll eat and get them fed. And so, yeah, it's just, I don't know what the fuck you'd call it, like a fucking reality show or something, but it's a video game. So anyway, my girlfriend has thousands of hours invested into this game, and she leaves town one time for the weekend. And so I didn't go. I stayed home, and I don't know if I got drunk. Don't know if I got stoned. Don't know if I just said, fuck this girl, whatever. I said, I'm going to log in and I'm going to move some of her people around. Right. So I get on the computer, I log in, I take some of her people, and I'm moving them around. So like, I don't know what I wanted to do. Like, take a fucking dog and put it down the street. Maybe she comes home and she's wondering where the Fido's at, and who knows? It's a couple streets over, walking around. So, and I guess I should mention this part. Like, you've got this house and you've got all these people in it, but you can actually zoom out way out of the house. You can see the whole town, and then you can zoom in on another house, and inside that house is a family. And so technically all of these people in this town can interact with one another, and you'll see people walking their dogs down the street, and you can go out, say something to them. Well, I decided that, actually found the game pretty interesting. I had seen her play it. And when I sat down and actually played it, I found it oddly addicting. So I'm going to say I probably put in close to 10 hours a day over the next 2 days while this girl was out of town. And all I can say is marriages were destroyed, families were ruined, jobs were lost, homes lost to fire. I literally killed an entire fucking family of Sims in a house fire. I felt pretty bad about that one. But every married couple, I was taking the neighbors and fucking the neighbors, and I was making the guys fuck the guys. The girls were fucking the grandfathers. Like, it was like this big, awful, because I didn't know the game, and I wanted to see if he could do it. And when she came back to the fucking Kardashians on steroids, literally thousands of hours in this game, ruined by an asshole boyfriend in me. Her favorite, I remember she always talked about this little old man in the game. He died. Again, there was a family of like 5 or 6 that were killed in a house fire because I burned the house down. It's her fault. She didn't have, apparently if they would have had fire extinguishers, Sims would have automatically put that out. She didn't have them. That one's on her. But yeah, probably 20 or 30 marriages were divorced. She came into frowny faces and people were dead. And, yeah, I just think it meant the world to me to cause that much pain to somebody that I didn't realize I was going to do it. I thought it would be funny, and then I realized how bad I fucked up by doing that. So listen, the moral of the story is lock your computers, kids. Use passwords, but more importantly, be sure to create backups of your saved games, okay? So listen, thank you all for joining. First solo episode of the Paddy Wagon. I hope it was entertaining. It's kind of a weird one, chatting to yourself, although I feel like I'm talking to most of you. So thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you in the new year. 2026 is going to be a good one. We've got a lot of great guests coming up, as I mentioned. So, yeah, please stay tuned and be sure to tune in to the next episode of the Paddy Wagon. We'll talk to you later, folks. Bye.